Yeah, I know I'm early. What do you want? What do you want from me? I could either sit and just wait and like twiddle my thumbs. How often do you guys twiddle your thumbs? Have you ever twiddled your thumbs? I could either do that or I could just turn on the feed and start chatting. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to turn on the feed. I'm just going to, this is my Friday actually today. So I'm going to sit here with the little Woodford Reserve bourbon. It's not the wine from the show, but it'll have to do. Michael, how you doing? I'm having a good day. I hope you're having a good day. So here's what my plan is for this. Everyone's already read this. Everyone has already, watched Tracy Hickman read it. They've probably talked about it ad nauseum, but I haven't. I've actually only read it once, and I watched some of Tracy Hickman reading it. I didn't watch all of it. And so, hey, Patrick, how you doing? Thanks for joining live, by the way. And so what I want to do is I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to talk about it, because I want to... There's some stuff in it that gives us clues as to when this part, the preview, was set. And we know after the interview with Margaret Weis when the novel is going to be set. Those are two different things. And we're going to get into it here after I do the reading. But I want to talk about it a bit. Hey, Dale, how you doing? New DragonLance. This is the novel that is coming out on August 2nd. It will be arriving at my house. So says Amazon. So I'm going to hold them to it. And I better have it, or else I'm going to be all pissed and stuff. Michael, how you doing? Thanks for joining live. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, you've probably already read it, so it's probably nothing new. But I haven't talked to anyone about it. And I only released a gaming episode today. And I don't know if anyone wants to sit around watching 3 hours of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons battle system. It took me like 6 hours to edit that thing. And then I cut out nearly 2 hours because it was just us arguing over rules and looking up rules. And that is wildly unfun. And so I thought, well, if you didn't get a reading episode today, I haven't read this preview. I'm going to read the preview and we'll talk about it. And it's my Friday. And so I'm sort of using that as an excuse to have a drink and just sort of chill out for a little bit. So let's have some fun. John, how you doing? You wonder if Lord Soth makes an appearance in the book or game. I mean, he has to, right? Like, he is the threat from from the War of the Lance until the end of the War of Souls. He is the dread threat of all of Krynn. Like, you can be worried about dragons, rightfully so. You can be worried about Takesis trying to get her fingers on Krynn, rightfully so. But there's always a dude who is ever present in Daragard. And he's got a bunch of skeleton minions with him. Like, that's a terrifying notion. So, yeah, he's got to be in it. I hope, anyway. Hey, Goldman, how you doing? Good to see you. Okay, so this scene that we're about to read has 3 characters. It's all centered around Destina, and it's her father, Gregory, and her mother, Atiano. I'm always stunned with how they pronounce names in Dragonlance, because they are not pronounced as they are written. Because if they were pronounced as they were written in English, Atiano would not be how you say it. The only reason why I say it as Atiano is because that's how Tracy Hickman says it, and he wrote it. So I assume that's how you say it. King Doms, how you doing? Wearing your Lord Soth t-shirt? Where'd you get a Lord Soth t-shirt? I want a Lord Soth t-shirt. What the crap? I just saw, just through random searching, that there was coffee bags and mugs that were released as sort of knockoffs of the Chronicles books and had secondhand artwork on them. It was so cool. I wanted those. They're not available anymore. Sucks. All right. Death saves. Oh, right. Yeah, you can do the bootleg stuff. Death saves. That's the Joe Manganiello stuff, right? They got the Magir thing totally wrong in that. I saw the Raceland Magir shirt, and then it has the God Magir rose on it too. Those two have nothing to do with each other. I just thought that was like he's a Dragonlance fan. He should know better. Thought that was weird. The company called Death Saves made a few different DragonLance shirts. You got Raceland and Lord Soth. Ooh, they got a Raceland one. Well, that's cool. I hope they got everything right. Well, no, they didn't, because that's the Majir one. Yeah, I've seen that one. Okay. All right. I've seen one that has like Dragonlance, the logo, like down one side of you. That's the one I know about. I've seen the Majir one. I thought that was weird. The Dragonlance one going down one side, I thought that's a weird design choice too. I don't understand that. But that's awesome. At least the stuff's out there, right? I'll have to look at the Lord Soth one because he's dope. Who does not like Lord Soth? They should probably be thrown into a pit with Lord Soth. Okay. Is it time yet? What time is it? Where's my clock? I got 15 minutes. 15 minutes before I'm supposed to read this according to my scheduling. But you know what? I'm here. You're here. Might as well do it, right? And we'll just chat afterward. Yeah, let's do it. All right. So this was actually released on Polygon.com. I don't know if it was ever released anywhere else. I don't know why Penguin Random House chose Polygon.com to do it, because I've never gone to Polygon.com in my life for anything. So I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's a huge website for gamers. I've never visited before. Thought it was strange that they released the preview there and not on their own website like Penguin Random House. What do I know? Thought the name comes from Majir because when Karaman made a coat of arms for his sons, it was the rose in a flagon of beer. I don't remember that. What book was that in? Because I remember the authors clarifying that Majir and Majare, the god, as it's officially pronounced, have nothing to do with each other as far as names go. But that is a good tie-in between the two. So if that's the reason, okay by me, I guess, if it matters. You know, not that it would. Zifnab. Yeah. Well, Fizzband's definitely got a show. I don't know about Zifnab because that's like Deathgate Cycle, I think, right? Second generation, you're pretty sure? Oh, okay. I don't remember that, but I have read it a few times. All right. Anyway, let's get into it. Here we go. This is the preview. This is the beginning of the novel, as they sort of preface this by saying, read the opening pages of Dragons of Deceit. And that's important for what we're about to read as far as context. Destina joined her father and mother in the solar after the midday meal. The solar was the most pleasant room in the castle, for the afternoon sun shone through the numerous windows, lighting it and filling it with warmth. Atiano was in particularly good spirits. Among her people, a girl attained womanhood at the age of 15. Gregory joined them, bearing a wooden box containing his gift. He grew more cheerful, as he always did when he was in his wife's presence. He kissed her and wished her joy for the day she had given him his daughter, his happiness. "What's my gift, Mama?" Destina asked. Atiano presented Destina with a golden chain. "Gold for the sun, for the sheaf of wheat, for the leaves in autumn," said Atiano. "Gold for the goddess of the yellow star." Destina was not to be lured into more discussions of gods that did not exist. She hung the chain around her neck and thanked her mother. Gregory presented his daughter with his gift, a silver chalice decorated with a kingfisher motif. Kingfisher bird was, with its bright blue sky and orange fire plumage, had been chosen as the mascot for the Knights of Solamnia by Vinus Solamnus, their founder. The kingfisher symbolized courage and hope, for it was said that on the day of the creation of the world, the bold kingfisher was the first bird who dared to take flight. "For your hope chest, daughter," said Gregory. "Papa, thank you! This is beautiful!" Destina flung her arms around her father's neck and kissed him. Gregory embraced her and then poured wine for himself and his wife to celebrate. "Please, Papa, just a little for me in my new chalice," Destina begged. "After all, Mama says that I am a woman today." She held out the chalice, and Gregory poured several swallows of red wine from the pitcher into the cup. Gregory and Atiano drank a toast to their daughter. Destina replied with thanks to her parents for giving her life and sipped the wine, admiring the chalice as she did so, turning it around and around in her hand. When she had finished, she handed the cup to her mother. "You must tell my future in the dregs, Mama," Destina said. Atiano gazed into the chalice, where the lees had sunk to the bottom. "What do you see, Mama?" Destina asked. To her astonishment, Adriano gave a cry of horror and flung the chalice away from her. The silver cup hit the stone floor with a resounding clang and rolled beneath the chest. Adriano made a warding gesture with her hand and muttered a few words that Destina did not understand and presumed were what her mother termed magic. Adriano then jumped from her chair and ran from the room. Gregory stared after her in concern. "What's wrong with your mother? What did she say?" "It seems Mama saw a bad omen in the dregs, and I believe she spoke a magic charm to ward off evil." "What was the omen about?" Gregory asked. I couldn't really understand her," said Destina. "I'll go speak to her." She went in search of her mother and found Adriano in the window in her bedchamber, gazing out at the bright blue sky above the burnished orange leaves below. "Come look at the lovely colors, Destina. They are the colors of the kingfisher, blue above and orange beneath." Destina was not interested in kingfishers or the color of autumn. The measure prohibited the belief in omens and portents, and Destina tried to obey. But she had so many questions, and not one of the 37 volumes of the measure could answer them. Adriano continued to gaze out the window. Destina saw tears on her mother's cheeks, and she grew even more frightened. Destina had never in her life seen her mother cry. "Mama, what did you see in the dregs?" Destina demanded. "How can we face what is coming?" Adriano asked. "How can we bear it?" She turned to face Destina and said softly, "My poor child." Destina took refuge in the measure. "Mama, remember what the measure says. Paladine forges the sword, but man chooses how to wield it. That means each person is responsible for what he or she does in life. The measure also warns, trust not the soothsayer, for his words are lies to snare the unwary. And my people say, the wolf is born to kill. The sheep is born to be killed," Adriano said, fixing her with shimmering dark eyes. "Mama, please tell me what you saw in the chalice," Destina pleaded desperately. "Bring the chalice to me," said Adriano. "I will show you." Destina hurried to the solar to fetch the chalice. She had to get down on her hands and knees to retrieve it from beneath the chest. She returned to her mother and held it out to her. Adriano recoiled, refusing to touch it. "Look into it, daughter, and tell me what you see." "Mother, you know I never see anything but dregs," Destina protested. "If you see, look," Adriano insisted. Destina sighed and peered into the cup, and this time she saw the dregs had formed a recognizable pattern. She laughed and said before she thought, "Isn't that funny, Mama? The leaves are in the shape of a dragon. See, here's the tail and the head and the wings." She heard a strangled gasp and looked up at her mother. The blood had drained from Adriano's face and lips, leaving her brown skin gray and leaden. "You saw the dragon, the same omen. I hoped I might be wrong, but you confirmed it." "Mama, you're frightening me," said Destina. "I saw the shape of a dragon. Nothing but leaves, the dregs, dead yeast. Here, I'll show you." She dipped her finger into the chalice and ran it around on the inside. The dragon disappeared, staining her finger red. Destina lifted her finger to show her mother. "There, Mama, you don't need to worry. The dead yeast is gone, and so is the dragon." Adriano stared in horror at the red blotch on Destina's finger. Then she sank into her chair, looking so ill that Destina shouted for her father. All right. That's the end of it. So, couple things to note. First of all, Destina is in Solamnia. Her father must be a Solamnic knight because she believes in the measure. Her mother must be a mage of some sort, but again, this is in a time when the gods don't exist. So this is the Age of Despair, before the War of the Lance. Now we know, because Margaret Weis told us, that the book is actually going to be taking place after the Blue Ladies' War, before the Summer of Chaos. Because she said that Raistlин's dead. He dies in the abyss. at the end of Legends at the Blue Ladies' War. So that means this is a flashback. If it's at the very beginning of the story, a sort of a premonition to the story to come. And that's probably why they chose it to release, because it's not the meat of the actual story. It's a preface to the actual story. So it is a bit deceitful. Goldman. As per the title of the book, I suppose. But I did find it interesting that the mother clearly sees wards and omens and talks about magic, because Destina knows the words that she's saying are what her mother deems magical words. So that means that Gregory, her Solemnic Knight father, married, in the Age of Despair, a magic user. Which, if you guys will remember, Knights of Solamnia hate wizards at this point. And everyone hates Knights of Solamnia. So that's kind of an interesting setup. I wonder if they had either thought about that, or if it has some form of like bearing on the story itself. The idea of them seeing a golden dragon. Well, first of all, let's talk about wine, because I don't know if any of you have ever made wine. I have. You filter wine. First of all, there's no leaves. There's no leaves in wine at all, unless the person who made it had no idea what they were doing. And grape leaves are massive. So I don't know how there could be leaves in the bottom of her brand new chalice from the wine that she just drank. That's something you do with tea, which would then make sense that there were leaves in it. But yeah, with wine, you might have some particles of the refining agents. And even if you just did it naturally, natural fermentation method, you might have like pieces of the skin. You might have like, pieces of pressed up pulp or something like that. Or some of the meat of the actual grape itself. And I'm making an assumption that this is all grape wine and not like strawberry or any other fruit, apple wine or whatever. Or you're just lazy that day. The thing is wine takes years. And the gravity is an unavoidable construct. It affects both space and time and wine. So as as I am sitting here on my chair, the force of gravity is pushing me down. I have wine sitting over on my counter, and it's the dregs or the leftovers of the actual wine itself, like the grapes itself. Gravity is pushing all of it through the liquid and holding it at the bottom. So you see this little nice layer of the sediment of the actual wine. When you're doing it in large vats, I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, because you probably don't give a fuck. Sorry, you probably don't care. But my point is that gravity pulls those pieces out of the wine. And as you filter it, as you siphon it, you leave the dregs behind, you leave the sediment behind as you put it into new containers or wine bottles or pitchers in this particular case. So there's no possible way that they would have leaves in it, for one, but also if they had dregs in it, they suck at making wine. I understand they're not elven, but it is kind of the drink of the day, so I feel like they should do it. Hey, Court, thanks for doing live. Cyril, how you doing? Yours is usually good to go in 3 months. I should try mine then, because I usually let it go. Unless you're making it from a kit, in which case, the kits are great, by the way. You can get them at like beer stores. And I've made the wine kits for years. And those are done in a few months for sure, because they have like additives that you add to sort of speed up the process. But if you're doing it just from your grapes in your backyard and, just that way, then it takes years for it to be fully bodied, as it were. All right, so let's see what else. I do like the writing. The way I read it, there's things that it's supposed to be read in your head, not out loud, right? It's a book. So I sort of skimmed over and changed some of the language a little bit just to help me read it fluidly, but the bulk of it was verbatim, and I don't know. It's not language that I would ever use you know, like in real life. What's my gift, Mama? I would never say that. Say, what did you get me, Mom? You know, again, I'm not in, Dragonlance world, and it's a whole different thing. So, you got to kind of forgive that. But, ooh, you're putting a wine kit on your Christmas list. You should make it, man. Brent, thanks for joining live. It's fun. It gives you a sort of a primer for what it takes to make wine, and it makes you appreciate it more, because you can just go to any liquor store. I'm in Utah, and so we can't go to any grocery store to buy wine. We have to go to a liquor store. You can go to any liquor store and buy wine of varying quality, but you don't really appreciate it until you've actually witnessed the process or done it yourself, and really appreciate the time it takes to make it. That's the thing, is it's not just the soil that the grapes come out of. It's not just the weather that encourages the grapes to flourish. It's not the age of the vines themselves. It's all of that, plus the time that it's stored, the care and attention that is given to it by humans during that process. I mean, there's so much that goes into it that we just don't appreciate because it's so easy for us to go by. But there's reasons why it was a seasonal thing back in the day. I mean, beer you could have done in 8 weeks, and it's not a big deal. You can have it done less than that if you don't care about the taste. You just want to get drunk. If you're just going to water it down, then you don't need it to taste great. You're just trying to make a profit off of the quantity for customers. But it takes a lot, Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. You can't wait for this book to come out. You've been collecting Dragonlance books for over 30 years. Currently have 174 novels. Good for you, John. Man. John. Anyway, the reading the dregs of the wine in the cup made zero sense to me. Like, there's no world where that exists. That is just not a thing. Tea, yes. Wine, no. Why they didn't just switch it to tea and make it logical, I don't know. Like, that doesn't make sense. I understand that Tracy doesn't drink, and so he wouldn't know. But if you don't do research. But Margaret drinks. She should know. So I don't know why it's in there. Anyway. So I thought that was strange. But then Atiano is like freaking out about the portent of a dragon in the bottom of it. And, when she swings her finger around and shows the red, it's like at this point in the world, the Age of Despair, dragons are myth. No one's seen them for hundreds of years, like multiple hundreds of years. So yeah, that would be terrifying if you believe in these prophecies and stuff. And I love the arrogance, like the sheer ego of Destina going to her mom being like, look, Mom, I understand you're worried about this portent of a dragon in my glass, but the measure, it says we shouldn't listen to fantasy, stuff like you're doing with your little teacup stuff in the wine glass. These visions and seer stuff. That's all fiddle faddle. That's another thing. When's the last time you used fiddle faddle? It's not real. It's a joke. Why are you worried about it, Ma? It's like, could you be any more disrespectful to your mother's culture? Like, I don't know if she's a wizard at this point or if it's just sort of a shamanistic background she comes from. But it's your mom. Show some respect. Maybe she has some life experience that you're not aware of. Maybe because you're a child, you don't know anything. Like, your brain's not even fully formed until you're like 18 to 22. So maybe shut up and sit down and let me teach you something, kid. Right? It's just so insulting. Oh my, you should read the measure more. Because the knights clearly have their finger on the pulse of truth when they got run out of their own homes. Everyone hates them. But yeah, let's leave them as the bastions of honesty. Give me a Yeah, I think so too, John. I just like the idea of her coming from a sort of shamanistic background to explain it, because we don't know, I mean, the Majir's mother, she was from Salam. No, where was she from? Where did it say she was from? I can't remember at this point. Anyway, wherever she was from, she clearly was touched with the magical gift, but she didn't really understand how to use it, and it sort of drove her insane. Destina's mom, Atiano, clearly knows what she's doing. So I don't know. I want to know the culture that she comes from. They mentioned the skin being tanned and brown, but that could be anywhere. I don't want to jump to the on the nose Ergoth as if anyone with anything less, or anything more dark than my pale ass translucent skin must be from Ergoth. Like, I don't like that. That's stupid. Sun exposure will change your skin tone. So, I imagine people in Kerr are dark skinned. People in the plains of dust probably aren't so much, I mean, the Kaghanisty elves probably are dark skinned because they live outside and I don't know. All elves live outside, but Quillinisty and Sylvanisty, they build these structures that they live in all the time. I always imagined Kaghanisty being a little more, primitive in their, I don't know. That's my guess anyway. Let's see. What's that? Not sure about this book. You got to read it, man. That's the only way. Like Goldman says, only one way to find out. Give it a shot. You don't even have to pay for it. Your library. If you live in one of the countries that has public libraries, it's free. You can't get better than that. It'll be a little later unless you put your name on the waiting list now. But so yeah, I think Destina is wildly arrogant and egotistical to even make those suggestions. That's just so bold and obnoxious. Rings true to a kid being a kid. The father, totally absent in the whole conversation. Like, he was there. Like, he poured the wine and toasted his daughter's birthday and his wife for, having her and giving her to him. Like, he was there. He saw her react the way she did. And still he's like, what's your silly mother doing? Is she on her period again? Like, show some concern for the woman that you were just doting on and go after her and find out for yourself. Like you were there, man. You don't care. It's just so callous and just dismissive as a dude. Like, if my wife dropped a cup, screamed, and ran out of the room, yeah, I'm going after her. I want to know what's up. I wouldn't be like, hey, kid, go tell me what your ma's doing. I'm watching the game. Dick. It's just rude. All right. But that's what we got. And so when I say the purpose of releasing an excerpt before the book is out, teaser trailers, that's what this is to get you excited, hyped, and amped for the actual book or film or whatever. That's the point of it. This just makes me critical. It doesn't get me excited about it. So I don't know. I have it pre-ordered. I've had it pre-ordered since it was announced. Amazon says it will be delivered on my doorstep August 2nd. So I will be consuming it and reading it and giving you guys spoiler-free and spoiler reviews on it. But I feel like they could have given us a better little tease, is all. One that's not ripe with inconsistencies and strangeness. I don't know. Thought it could have been better, that's all. But that being said, I did have fun doing the reading. I'm one of those dads that read to my kids growing up every night. Like, we would go through every stupid Shel Silverstein poem and every stupid Dr. Seuss book. They're not all gold. And I love me some Where the Wild Things Are. All the children's books that are really great and fun and stuff, I read to my kids. And so I love doing voices, and I love sort of adding a little bit of vocal drama to it, just sort of, playing with it. So I had fun sort of reliving that a little bit doing this reading. I hope it'll be good. I hope. Even if it's not good, it's like pizza. Still good. It's Dragonlance. I feel like another excerpt could have been more tantalizing. Yeah, I agree. I want an excerpt of Destina, like some sort of inner monologue, right? She's lost her father. She wants to go back and save him. So she comes to terms with the idea of, I have to find the time travel device. And I want to hear that rationalization in her mind, because to know that exists, you have to like be spending time in the library at Planthus. Like, how would you know? How would the average, normal, everyday person in Krynn have any idea that the device of time traveling is a thing? No one would know that. No one knows that. That's not a thing that people know. So if you're a hero or a person of authority, you may know. And certainly if you were involved in it, you would know. So then how does she get from, my dad is dead and I'm sad and I want to bring him back, to, I need to tap on Tasselhoff Burfoot's door to see if he has it still? Because there's a lot between there that you have to explain to us, and how she knows. And first of all, how she would know about the device, how she would know that Tasselhoff had it, how she would know where Tasselhoff is, because tons of Kender are now naming their kids Tasselhoff Burfoot. So how do you know you got the right one? You know, I don't know. There's a lot of ifs. I want to know. I want some inner monologue. Your dad read you The Art of War as a kid. Wow. Wow. Ooh, is Takesis using her? And that's how she knows. That's interesting. You know, she's always trying to come back. She was just foiled by Raceland, so she definitely knows where it is, or who had it last anyway. Would that be too... Here's the thing. Would that be too close to her relationship with Mina from the War of Souls and the Dark Disciple trilogy? I feel like it would. Like, it would be retreading old ground. And I know we're already retreading old ground because we're going back to the well. But I feel like that might be a bridge too far, you know? Like having Takesis convince another young woman to do her bidding. Like, that's like the Emperor Palpatine just keeps coming back. You know? Building a new world killer. Oh, wait, yeah, he did that all the time. You're right. You're right. It totally depends on how it's done. It might be brilliant, but on its face, not so stoked about it. It was, what's her name? It was Megan from Dragonlance Nexus that had said that they were sort of kicking around the idea that it was Verminard's daughter, that it was Verminard that died that she's going back to. I don't think Verminard's first name was Gregory, was it? I think Verminard was his name, right? Now I want to know. It's a good thing. Oh, so it's Verminard of Nidus. So his name's not Gregory, so it's definitely not him. So I loved that theory. I thought it was brilliant. But that is shit the bed at this point. Not real. So I wonder, is her father anyone of significance to anyone but her? Right? Because that's enough. That's all you need. We don't need him to be like the hero of the Battle of Kalaman or something. You know, it doesn't matter. It could just be a dude. And that's good enough, because it's about her love for him and her desperation and sense of despair in his absence that drives her to do these crazy world-altering things. So I don't know. Would it be better if he was someone of renown, or is it okay for her just to be basically a nobody? And if we're sort of, taking cues from past novels that Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman have written, then we know that they love the idea of a working class hero, someone of zero significance rising to significance because of situation. So I think that's probably what we're going to get. Yeah. Or a damned hero. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. You mean classic Dragonlance? It'll be sweet. It'll be fun stuff to read. Yeah, I mean, we're going back to comfortable territory, you know? This is comfort food. You know, I mean, for me, comfort food is lasagna and shepherd's pie. You know, that's the stuff that brings me home, makes me feel warm and cozy. That's what Dragonlance is. Dragonlance is shepherd's pie and lasagna. When in doubt, blame Gully Dwarfs. Hey, Adam, thanks for doing that, man. Yeah, you know it's their fault. If it wasn't for those Grey Gem races, they couldn't have altered time. So it's definitely their fault. Stinking Gully Dwarves. You know what I want? There was a ridiculous story that I didn't like. I still don't like. In Star Wars, where an Ewok from Endor became like a hacker and went off on hacker adventures in space. Like a primitive, furry animal who ate humans, like ended up being a hardcore hacker, which makes no sense. It's just the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. But if it was a gully dwarf, and he just studied, maybe he was an order of this part of the order of aesthetics with Asinus of Palanthus. What if we got a smart gully dwarf? He could count to 10. You know, he was like a genius. He was like an idiot savant. He's the Rain Man of gully dwarves. It's a thing. It could happen. I'd be okay with that. Notic spiced potatoes is comfort food. Yeah, JB. I haven't even made that yet. Of all the recipes, I'm making Flame Strike soup this weekend, and I still have yet to make Otic spiced potatoes. Like, I'm just doing in order of appearance of Into the Last Home, leaves from the Into the Last Home. So, I don't know. I'll do it. We don't need more gnomes. I personally love gnomes. I think they're hilarious. I think they're just, as long as you play up the comedy, I think they're great. There's an ant on my wall. What are you doing here? I didn't invite you. Get out of here, freak. All right. Well, that's all I had. I just wanted to read that and sort of riff a little bit, have some fun, have a little drink. I think I've done that. You guys have yourselves a fantastic weekend. This is my weekend, so have a good one. And let's see. Next week, we are planning on part 2 of Darkness Falls, the XD20 role-playing game that we did a couple weeks back. So look forward to that. It should be a lot of fun. I had a great time with the players, and I hope they enjoyed the story, and I hope we can have another great time next week. So tune in live if you want to, throw out snide comments and judge me and the other players on how we do with the DragonLance story. I welcome it all. All of your hate and love. I want all of it. So thank you guys. Have a great one. Till next time. Slàinte mhath.